Have you ever wondered why some photography websites show up on the very top of the search, but despite your best effort, you can't seem to get to the top? Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 biggest photography website SEO mistakes that I've noticed and how to fix them. Welcome to Coffee and SEO, where we sit down for a coffee hour together and simplify SEO, making it super approachable for your business. I'm Taylor, your host and the founder of Aligned SEO. And at Aligned SEO, we specialize in helping photographers, creatives, and service providers get visible online and reach their dream clients through holistic SEO strategies. Whether you're looking to increase your Google rankings, attract more dream clients, or just make sense of SEO, I will be your SEO guide and bestie. So let's simplify SEO, align it with your goals, and get your website working just as hard as you do so you can get back to doing what you love. More and more people are turning to the internet to find their service providers, especially photographers, and you can't afford to be stuck on page 30 or page 50 when you need more clients to find you and you need more leads. I've seen so many photographers unknowingly make super simple SEO website mistakes that are preventing their dream clients from ever finding them. But here's the good news. These mistakes are easy to fix once you know what to look for. And in this podcast episode, I'm going to share the top 5 SEO mistakes that photographers make and how to solve them. So we are in problem solving mode today, and I'm going to give you some actionable steps on how to change this if you are making these website mistakes. So the first big mistake that I see photographers make, and probably the biggest mistake that almost every service provider makes when they come to me, is using the wrong keywords. This is a really big mistake to make because it is foundational to all of your SEO efforts. If you're using the wrong keywords, then the right people are not going to find you. And for a lot of photographers, the reason why they're using the wrong keywords is because they either don't know how or didn't think to stop and research the keywords before sticking them into their sites. And here's the thing about keywords. There are good keywords that are really good for a website, and then there are keywords that just aren't as good or optimal for a website for a few different reasons. So one of these reasons is because ideal clients might not even know the terms. So photographers tend to like to use vague or artistic terms like moody photographer or documentary style photographer or even lifestyle photographer in their keywords because it's what they think is a good keyword to describe their work. But the thing about these keywords is that they are descriptors that are industry terms that we as photographers use to describe our work, but it's not well known to our ideal clients, especially when they are sitting down to type something into Google. They're not thinking about moody photography or lifestyle photography. They're thinking, I need to find a wedding photographer. So as you brainstorm keywords, you want to think about the terms and queries that your ideal client would be not only thinking, but typing into Google. And I also, just another tip, make sure that they are location specific. You definitely don't want to be ranking for keywords that are too broad. Like let's say you are a Georgia wedding photographer. You don't want to just rank for wedding photographer because you're going to get people on your site that are from Florida and maybe not Georgia at all. So you definitely want to specify, but you want to use the right terms. Another really big reason that photographers are maybe even ranking for certain keywords, but they're not getting any traffic and they're not getting any leads is because they're using keywords that aren't getting searched. So you can use any keyword you want out there. You can use any words you want on your website, but some of them get searches, some of them get hundreds of thousands of searches, and others of them get 0 searches. And so if you're trying to rank for keywords that get 0 searches, then you are not going to get any traffic to your website versus another keyword that might have 100 searches. So a really good example is the keyword engagement photographer Atlanta, Georgia gets about 90 searches a month, while the keyword Georgia engagement photographer doesn't get any searches. So it really could just be a variation, or it could be a certain city versus state keyword. So this is why you do not want to skip keyword research. It is so important that you don't skip keyword research. Make sure that the keywords that you're targeting are actually being searched by looking at the search volume when you do your keyword research. And I will recommend a few of my tools in just a minute. The next thing that I want to talk about is competition and difficulty. So if you skip keyword research, you might be using keywords that are overly competitive without even knowing it. So there are certain keywords that your site will have a better shot at ranking for versus another site that's either been around for a long time or has a really high domain authority, which most photography websites that I have had experience with, including my own, we are more of the moderate domain authority range because we are not in the business of blogging. We are just service providers that are trying to get leads. So here's an example. The query Spokane wedding photographer has a keyword difficulty or competition of 15%, while wedding photographer in Spokane has a keyword difficulty of 37%. That's a really big difference. And so even though the search traffic isn't that different, the search volume, the number of people searching this term, the keyword difficulty has a really big gap. And so of course I'm going to want to go for the keyword that has less keyword difficulty, but the same search volume versus a keyword that has higher keyword difficulty because it's going to be harder to rank. And we want to get to page 1. So make sure you check the competition or keyword difficulty for every single term that you consider putting on your website. This is going to inform which keywords you go after and which are just not really worth your time. So this is really crucial for your photography SEO strategy. And lastly, sometimes it's easy to forget to think about the search intent of the target keywords. Just make sure that when you're thinking about putting a keyword or a query into your website, you want to target the keywords that are being searched by your ideal client with the intent to book a photographer and not an intent to buy some sort of guide or maybe a florist. Like you want to make sure that their search intent matches your service that you offer. So this is just a really important tip that's super easy to overlook. And you also want to make sure that it's in the right location if you're a location-based service, which most photographers are. Even if you are an elopement photographer or travel photographer, you want to make sure to specify the locations in every single landing page and blog post that you share. The next big mistake that photographers make is not optimizing their images. If you are a photographer, you know how important it is to display high quality images that really showcase your best work as a photographer. But what this means is that you've got tons of large image files all over your website, and if you don't optimize those files, they can really hinder your website's speed, which definitely results in poor rankings and inaccessible content if you don't optimize the right way, which Google does not like. So here's how you easily optimize your images. So first of all, you will go into a browser and type in tiny PNG or tiny JPEG. And you're going to drop your images in there to compress the file size without sacrificing the quality. And then before you re-upload your images, use descriptive file names like, for example, Los Angeles wedding photo.jpg or family photo in Spokane, Washington. And then once you upload it into your article or your website page, use alt text. Do not skip this part. Use alt text to describe the photo, making it accessible, which Google really loves, but you can also try to sneak in a few keywords there or use keyword-rich text, but make sure that it sounds natural and that you're actually describing the image to help people who might be visually impaired. Or if your image doesn't load fast enough, this is what's going to pop up. So make sure to optimize your images, and that's really going to help your website's SEO. The third biggest mistake is not having enough content. It is so easy for photographers just to think of their website as just another place to hold their portfolio, and so they're just sharing images all over their website. For SEO, this is not going to be really helpful because what Google values the most is helping people find relevant, helpful content that they actually are looking for, trustworthy content. And search engines typically understand your page based off of the value of its content, which includes text. Yes, it includes images, but mostly text and headers and code. And so if you don't have any content on your website other than just a bunch of images, you're not really helping the search engine understand what your website is all about and how you help your clients. And not to mention, this is not the best for converting photography clients in general, because if you just have images up, they can't see the value of their experience with you. So for more than one reason, you need to add more content into your website. So how do you fix this? Incorporate really great copy that's both keyword rich and also written to share your unique selling point. That's just a conversion tip. This is super important to help both the human viewers of your website and also Googlebot to understand what you have to offer and what you're related to. Those keywords will tell them a lot. So add detailed descriptions to every page of your website, use headers to break up the text and incorporate keywords into your headers, answer questions that your ideal clients might have, and your page is going to do so much better than just a page with only images or mostly a portfolio. Another really big mistake that photographers make on their websites, and I don't blame you for this one if you did make this mistake because it's not something that we all think about, is having multiple H1s tagged. So the last photography website that I worked on, to no fault of her own, because I think over time she just accumulated all these H1 tags, but she had over 20 H1s tagged on one page. What this tells Google is that all of these statements that are tagged as H1, header 1, are the most important pieces of content on her website. So ideally, in order to not confuse search engines, because they are of course bots and not as intelligent as human beings, you want to have one H1 that tells the bot what your page is about. I think it's really common, and again, you're not alone if you made this mistake. It's really common for photographers to not really pay attention to what their text is tagged as, and so they will have H1 tags that are linked to the text, like client love or imagine this, or just random phrases that don't really give any context to what your website is about. So just make sure as you go through your website that every single piece of text is tagged with either H1, H2, H3, H4, paragraph or navigation or div. Every piece of text has a purpose on your website and it should be labeled as such, but make sure you only have one H1, and ideally it can be keyword rich. So that is the fix for that one. The goal is to provide clarity and structure to honestly both humans and search engines, making your page easier to understand and read. The fifth biggest mistake that I see photographers make all the time is blogging without a strategy. I see photographers just churning out blog posts once a week to make their weekly quota of, finishing a blog post. But the thing is, you have to have a blog strategy. If you're just blogging random sessions and you're not really optimizing it for Google, all it's doing is creating more pages that eventually might even weigh down your site. It's actually not about how many blogs you can write or sharing all your weddings or sessions. It's not even about being super consistent and rigid about your blogging schedule. It's really all about helpful, relevant, and strategic content, which you'll hear me say over and over again. So my strategy for all of my clients include both ranking for new and creative keywords that are complementary to the main target keywords that we have on their main website pages, and then also establishing topical authority in their location, niche, or industry to boost the site's overall ranking. So every single piece of content that we plan has a purpose and is optimized so they help steadily grow traffic to the site. So my suggestion to you is to blog with intention. Don't just churn out blog posts. Don't just share a little excerpt from a family session and post a bunch of images in there. Really focus on writing content that is intentional and helpful to your ideal clients. and that you can optimize to establish your authority in your niche, industry, or location, or through other keywords that you want to target. So this is going to ensure that your blog posts are actually contributing to your website's overall growth and actually be good for SEO versus weighing your site down with meaningless content. So make sure to evaluate your photography website right now. Make sure that you're not making any of these mistakes. Make sure you're not creating meaningless blogs, having multiple H1s on each page, not including helpful content, using the wrong keywords, and these are really going to set you up for success when it comes to SEO. So at this point, if you're like, I really want help with my website's SEO, I want to set this up properly, I do offer done-for-you SEO services that are foundational to helping photographers like you reach their dream clients online. So if you want that set up, the timeline is 2 to 4 weeks, and we can get your SEO set up right away so you have a great foundation to reaching those dream clients online. So reach out to me if you want to chat more, and I will see you in the next episode.